Michael O'Leary, Ryanair's chief executive, said passengers would be able to leave their luggage at a bag drop, but everything else would be done online. This became reality in October 2009. 70. In June 2009, Ryanair reported its first annual loss, with a loss posted of €169 million for the financial year ending 31 March. 71. In November 2009, Ryanair announced that negotiations with Boeing had proceeded poorly and that Ryanair was thinking of stopping the negotiations, then putting at 200 aircraft for delivery between 2013 and 2016, and simply returning cash to shareholders. 72. Boeing's competitor Airbus was mentioned again as an alternative vendor for Ryanair, but both Michael O'Leary and Airbus CCO John Lee dismissed this. 73. In December 2009, Ryanair confirmed that negotiations with Boeing had indeed failed. Plans were to take all 112 aircraft already in order at that point, with the last deliveries occurring in 2012, for a total fleet of over 300. Ryanair confirmed that an agreement had been met on price, but it had failed to agree on conditions, as Ryanair had wanted to carry forward certain conditions from its previous contract. 74. 2010s. In April 2010, after a week of flight disruption in Europe caused by the 2010 eruptions of Eyjafjallajökull in Iceland, Ryanair decided to end refusals to comply with EU regulations which stated it was obliged to reimburse stranded passengers. 75. In a company statement released on the 22nd of April, 2010, Ryanair described the regulations as unfair. On the 29th of April, 2010, Ryanair cancelled all of its routes from Budapest Listferen Airport after talks with the airport's management on reducing fees failed. As the airport is the only in serving Budapest, there is no lower-cost airport nearby. In June 2010, Ryanair called for the Irish government to scrap its tourist tax, implying it was destroying tourism in Ireland. 76. In August 2010, Ryanair held a press conference in Plovdiv and announced its first ever Bulgarian destination connecting Plovdiv with London Stansted. The service was planned to start in November 2010 with 2 flights weekly. 77. In late 2010, Ryanair began withdrawing all routes from its smallest base, Belfast City, and Shannon due to increased airport fees. 78. Ryanair ATR 42-300. In 1991, Ryanair operated BAC 1-11 Series 500 aircraft between 1988 and 1993. Ryanair Boeing 737-200. In 2003, Ryanair Boeing 737-800 in a former livery cabin on board a Ryanair Boeing 737-800, showing advertisements in the overhead lockers until 2014. In the last 3 months of 2010, Ryanair made a loss of €10.3 million, compared with a loss of €10.9 million in the same period the previous year. More than 3,000 flights were cancelled in the quarter. Ryanair blamed the losses on strikes and flight cancellations due to severe weather. 79. In March 2011, Ryanair opened a new maintenance hangar at Glasgow Prestwick International Airport, making it Ryanair's biggest fleet maintenance base. In June 2011, Ryanair and Comac signed an agreement to cooperate on the development of C919, a Boeing 737 competitor. 80. Ryanair cut capacity by grounding 80 aircraft between November 2011 and April 2012 due to the high cost of fuel and continuing weak economic conditions. 81. On the 19th of June 2012, Ryanair chief executive Michael O'Leary announced his intention to make an all-cash offer for Aer Lingus. The bid was blocked by the European Commission in 2017, which had also blocked an earlier bid. 82. According to research in October 2013, Ryanair was the cheapest low-cost airline in Europe in basic price, excluding fees, but was the fourth cheapest when fees were included. 83. 84. On the 25th of October 2013, Ryanair announced what it described as a series of customer service improvements to take place over the next 6 months. These included lower fees for reprinting boarding passes, free changes of minor errors on bookings within 24 hours, and a free second small carry-on bag. Ryanair said it was making the changes as a result of customer feedback. 85. On the 27th of January 2014, Ryanair moved into a new €20 million, 100,000 square feet Dublin head office in Airside Business Park, having outgrown its previous office within Dublin Airport. 86. The building was officially opened on Thursday the 3rd of April 2014 by the then Taoiseach Enda Kenny, Minister for Finance Michael Noonan and the Lord Mayor of Dublin Oisin Quinn. On the 8th of September 2014, Ryanair agreed to purchase up to 200 Boeing 737 MAX 8s, 100 confirmed and 100 options, for over $22 billion. 87. The airline confirmed plans to open an operating base at Milan Malpensa Airport in December 2015, initially with one aircraft. 88. On the 9th of March 2016, Ryanair launched a corporate jet charter service, offering a Boeing 737-700 for corporate or group hire. 89. 90. In November 2016, Ryanair launched a new package holiday service named Ryanair Holidays. The new service offers flights, accommodation, and transfer packages. Visa Vice was launched in Ireland, the United Kingdom and Germany, with other markets to follow. 91. Ryanair partnered with Spain-based tour operator, leisure travel and accommodation provider, World to Meet, to create Ryanair Holidays. 92. In April 2017, Ryanair started issuing tickets for connecting flights, meaning if a connection is missed, the customer will be rebooked at no extra cost and compensated according to the EU Flight Compensation Regulation. To begin with, such tickets were only sold for flights with connections at Rome Fiumicino Airport. 93. 94. In 2017, the company announced plans to add 50 new aircraft to its fleet every year for the next 5 years, aiming to reach 160 million passengers by the early 2020s, up from 120 million passengers. 95. Abandoning the single airline strategy. For over a decade, Ryanair had only operated with its Irish Air Operator's certificate and solely under the Ryanair brand. However, starting in 2018, the airline began introducing additional brands and operating on multiple certificates in different countries. Ryanair service counter at Glasgow International Airport, Scotland Ryanair check-in area at Bremen Airport, Germany Ryanair maintenance hangars at London Stansted Airport, England Boeing 737 operated by Polish Ryanair Sun subsidiary recognizable only through Polish aircraft registration. In 2017, Ryanair announced that it would launch an independent Polish subsidiary in 2018, operating charter flights from Poland to Mediterranean destinations. Aside from turning away from the company's policy of only operating on a single air operator's certificate, the step also meant that Ryanair would be launching charter flights after having focused only on scheduled operations before. 96. The subsidiary was branded Ryanair Sun and received its Polish Air Operator's certificate in April 2018 and subsequently launched. 97. Initially, it had only one former Ryanair Boeing 737-800 and complemented its operation with wet-leased aircraft from its mother company. In late 2018, Ryanair Sun was expanded by transferring all Polish-based Ryanair aircraft to it. The decision was made in the wake of staff costs and unions. 98. As a consequence, Ryanair Sun mainly operated scheduled flights on behalf of its mother company using Ryanair's FR flight numbers. Also in 2018, Ryanair expanded its portfolio with Austrian-based Laudamotion, later renamed Lauda. Laudamotion was the successor of Niki, which had folded as a consequence of the Air Berlin demise. 99. The company was founded by Niki Lauda. 99. Initially, Ryanair purchased a 25% share in Laudamotion to increase the share to 75% pending government approval. The deal was announced in March 2018 ahead of the carrier's launch in June 2018. 100. After increasing its share to 75%, Ryanair fully acquired the Austrian airline in December 2018. 101. On the 28th of September 2018, pilots, cabin crew and other staff called for a strike due to their transition from workers being employed on Irish contracts and subject to Irish legislation to their own country's labour laws, along with an issue in their pay. Due to lobbying of the crew and walkouts of pilots, the airline had to cancel 250 flights which affected around 40,000 passengers. 102. 103. On the 9th of June 2019, Ryanair announced, together with the government of Malta, that it would establish a new airline called Malta Air, not to be confused with Air Malta, which will consist of an initial fleet of 10 aircraft and assume the 61 flights currently operated by Ryanair from the island. The fleet was registered in Malta while a new repair and maintenance hangar was also set up. 104. 105. Ryanair transferred all its existing Maltese operations to the new airline and its fleet was expected to increase from the 6 Boeing 737 to 800 aircraft currently allocated to the Malta market to 10, all to be in Malta Air colours, by mid-2020. 106. On the 23rd of August 2018, Ryanair announced a new baggage policy. Under this policy, priority boarding allows for a larger and a smaller bag, capped by the capacity on the airplane. The company claimed this reduces turnaround times and simplifies the baggage policy. 107. After this, many other low-cost airlines introduced similar policies, for example Wizz Air. 108. 2020s. Ryanair Boeing 737-800 with registration EIEBA at Eindhoven Airport. The carrier's CEO made comments at the A4E Aviation Summit in Brussels on 3 March 2020. Michael O'Leary said that he expected people to get bored of the COVID-19 pandemic and saw a recovery by the summer of 2020. 109. That changed with Ryanair announcing in a statement that it expected demand to return to 2019 levels by the summer of 2022. 110. The COVID-19 pandemic had a significant impact on Ryanair. While the CEO Michael O'Leary remained adamant that state aid was not an option, the carrier announced several changes to its operations. This included the loss of 3,000 jobs announced on the 1st of May 2020, which affected mainly pilots and cabin crew. This came as airline announced it would suspend the majority of its operations until June 2020. 110. In July 2020, Ryanair CEO Michael O'Leary announced that the company had made a net loss of €185 million in the period April-June 2020. In comparison, in the same period of 2019, the firm made a net profit of €243 million, 111. In September 2020, the airline threatened to leave Ireland due to COVID-19 restrictions. 112. Despite their original plan to fly 60% of the previous year's schedule, in October 2020, the company decided to reduce the number of flights between the period of November 2020 March 2021 to 40%. According to O'Leary, this was a result of government mismanagement of EU air travel as the quarantine travel measures were loosened. 113. By the end of December 2020, the airline reported an 83% drop in annual passengers from 2019. 114. Due to the persisting COVID-19 pandemic, Ryanair expected losses of between €800 million and €850 million in their fiscal year of 2021. Only 27.5 million passengers flew compared to 148.6 million passengers in the previous financial year. The full financial report was released on the 17th of May 2021. 115. The company reported a record annual loss of $989 million. 116. Like low-cost airline EasyJet, Ryanair does not issue VAT invoices. 18. Corporate affairs. Business trends. The key trends for the Ryanair Group over recent years are, as of the year ending the 31st of March 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 turnover, €2,9883,6,214,800, operating profit.